Alright, a little quick day 2 update. We're about 27 hours, I think it is. It's about 10 a.m. We left at 7. So yeah, we've been sailing for about 27 hours. You can see the track here. There's a couple of spots where there's no track. It doesn't record those areas, unfortunately. Sometimes it has a bit of a dummy spit and it just stops track recording, especially if I swap and I'm using the weather app. Even though this is meant to be running in the background and track recording, it doesn't. So anyway, so the numbers here aren't too correct. We've done about 270 miles in that time. We did over 250 mile and a 10.3 knot average in the last 24 hours to 7 o'clock this morning. And yeah, we've been ripping along. Running a little bit deeper because we had a bit more pressure. And now we just threw another reef in. We've been running with one reef in the main and sort of overnight with 2-3 reefs in the headsail furled up. And but we had the breeze was a little bit apparent, was on the beam still, and true wind just after the beam, so it was quite wet and pretty fast. I think our max speed up here is like 19.2. Yeah, that was reached yesterday. This is a moving average since we have it on when we're at anchor, so obviously that moving average is really low. But anyway, yeah, so we ran a bit deeper just to try and keep the boat a bit drier and a bit more comfortable. No one slept real well last night. We're pretty tired, but it's always the way. The first day out's always a bit of a tough one as you get used to it, as you get used to being at sea again. But yeah, we're trucking. You see the iPad says top speed 17.5, but the Garmin's 19.2. Anyway, it's a pretty good top speed, anywhere around 17 to 19 knots. Can't complain. And yeah, we've just thrown another reef in, so you can see we're hotting up a little bit. We're running a bit of a higher angle, and just to bring us back on closer to the rum line. As when we get closer to the bottom of Newcal, I'll see if I can get this to work. Yeah, you can see there's just a little bit of weather around the base of Newcal there. As we come down, here we are coming down the rum line. We should just skirt it. So that's why I'm trying to get back on the rum line, just so we can skirt around this. I'll watch the satellite images as we get closer to this time frame. And we may go a little bit further west, just so we can skirt anything. We don't have to worry about any squalls. And then yeah, once we get down here sort of Friday morning, we'll jibe over and then we'll start running. If the forecast stays the way it is, we'll keep running to Oz. It's looking pretty good. This is giving us an average of 7.5 knots. So as you can see, this weather 4D's been freezing on me a little bit. I've got to quit it sometimes and reopen it. It's yeah, to be honest, it's been a real pain. I've even emailed the developer a couple of times and he's tried to sort it out, but it's happening on the phone and the iPad. So anyway, we just close it and reopen. But yeah, you'll see the boat comes down around the bottom of Newcal. We might drive over a little earlier. Then we'll probably have a day of motoring here through Friday to Saturday morning, and then we're going to come into some breeze again from the south. Well, it'll start off southwest, really light, 10 knots, beautiful, and then it'll start to fill in from the southeast. We'll probably have up to 20, maybe even 25s, and then yeah, it'll just be a sweet run all the way across, pretty much into Bundy, and you know, if we can average 7.5 knots from where we are, and at the moment we're averaging 10s, it'll get us in there early on Wednesday morning the 30th. So yeah, Huey's looking pretty good at the moment. We'll just keep an eye on it. That's the European model. The Icon's looking pretty good as well. Let's see if it freezes again or not. I'll just go up here and change the models. Yeah, so the same with the Icon. You can see it's just got us skirting that rain band. and then around the bottom of Newcow and across, same thing. Light southerly change coming through, nothing much. Maybe a little bit of rain there, and then boom, that's going to fill in from the southeast. And yeah, you can see the icon saying up to 26 knots, 27s in the gusts. So yeah, that'll give us a push across. Anyway, we'll keep watching that. We'll monitor that and just see how strong it is. If it's going to stay the way it is, well then yeah, we'll make the most of it and keep trucking. Anyway, let's go and have a look outside. Chitty's doing brekkie. Look at this, eating like kings, like normal. Dates, got our fruit bowls, bananas. Chitty made some chocky bickies the other day. Living like kings. Thanks, Chit. Outside, Jimbo's keeping things. And yeah, we threw in this morning. Let's go and stand up here and have a look. Yeah, threw in another tuck this morning, so we're pretty heavily reefed. And got a single reef in the headsail there. Oh, I can see a big flying fish up there on the foredeck. I'm going to have to go up there and get him before he starts to smell and get all stiff. Poor bugger. Not a nice way to end it. You're jumping free of the water because you're afraid and you land on a boat. But anyway, yeah, have a look. We're just trucking along. She's loving this. She loved the last 24 hours. This apparent breeze on the beam, you know, True's just aft. And yeah, she's just trucking. We had the staysail out before and the two reefs in the main, and we're still doing 8 to 10 knots. It's just crazy. The boat doesn't take a lot to get her moving. She's handling it really well, apart from being really wet. Everything's going fantastic. Starlink's been a little bit on and off, especially when we're moving quicker and bouncing around a bit. But yeah, boat's going great. She definitely enjoys it without that tuck in. She was a lot better, less float slap. But we were just starting to sail through the waves and it was becoming too wet, so that's why we put the reef in. The boat just starts to launch, and you know, as I think most people know that have been following us, she's not in the best shape. So you know, no reason to stress her out too much. We're making good time. So just take the pedal off the metal, look after the boat. And yeah, it just means that we flop about a little bit more, but it's definitely a lot drier. When she starts charging, you know, when we're doing sort of 12, 13, 14, she charges into the waves and just the water comes over the whole boat. She's pretty wet, and so the cockpit gets really wet. Anyway, let's have a look at some numbers. You can see we're doing pretty good numbers, easily sitting on 9/10s. And you can see that apparent's pretty much just on the beam, maybe just after the beam. True wind speed about 20 knots. And yeah, we're just trucking. Beautiful out here. Beautiful. Alright. Well, that's our day 2 update. We passed a few boats this morning, passed a couple of monohulls a few mile away, 5 miles that were sort of doing 5-6 knots. And they left Fiji a day before us. We saw them all leave the day prior. But we figured this would be a really good angle. And yeah, there was no rush to leave, so we spent the night just tucked in behind the reef to have a good sleep. But anyway, we are having a ball out here. All the best to everyone from All Aboard Spirit, and yeah, we'll do another update each day as we progress. Cheers for now.